Let's talk.
Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is brought to you by Maine Spirits. Learn more about the delicious spirits they bring into the great state of Maine and what you can make with them at mainspirits.com, on Instagram at Maine_spirits, or download their app for your smartphone. Stay tuned at the end of the show for Happy Hour.
Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is also brought to you by Bull Moose, now open for safe distance shopping. Get all of your music, movies, gaming, books, and pop culture needs at Bull Moose, with dozens of locations peppered throughout Maine and New Hampshire, or shop from home at bullmoose.com.
Also by State Theater, Portland, Maine. Though State Theater is closed for concerts at present, they are still working to bring you the best music entertainment in the comfort and safety of your home. Visit statetheater.com for more information, show schedules, and merchandise.
And by the Maine Music Alliance, a Maine-based nonprofit dedicated to the preservation of Maine's independent music venues. Learn more and donate at mainmusicalliance.org.
And by Sun Tiki Studios, a top-notch rehearsal and performance space on Forest Avenue in Portland. Though closed for concerts for the time being, Sun Tiki Studios is open for safe distance rehearsals. Learn more and book time at suntikistudios.com.
Nice.
We're going to start the show with Maine Spirits Happy Hour. Actually, full disclosure, I'm editing the show, and it's Sunday night. This comes out at midnight tomorrow, so a little bit later, 12 o'clock. It is now 5:32 p.m. my time, if this makes sense. And we have a whole series with a happy hour going on. Last month was Absinthe month, and now we're going to move on to something else. But I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to pause because of the drink that I made myself to sit down and edit the show, right? A little sipper. And I don't, I'm not normally like a, drinking while working kind of guy. Once in a while, like Zach and I'll have a cocktail, we'll have a happy hour, that's fine. But keep it on the rails, right? So I wanted to have something just to sip on, and I was like, oh yeah, a hot toddy. And then I remembered this. And this is the only drink that I will say this competitively about. Oftentimes, when I'm speaking about certain cocktails, I'm consulting people who know more than I do, which is most people. But when it comes to the hot toddy, mine stands up against anybody's, and I'm going to show you right now, how to make a hot toddy. Maybe make it, and then enjoy the show. So, what you're going to need for tools will be the following: a large mug and a spoon, probably a knife and a juicer. For ingredients, you'll need the following: bourbon or rye, actually, of your choice. Or, actually, Napa Castle is a single malt Irish whiskey. That also works great in a toddy. I actually recommend that one. If I had that, I'd be using that. But, you're going to need also honey. You're going to need a cinnamon stick. You're going to need bitters. You're going to need a whole lemon. And you're going to need cloves. Let's build it. In your favorite I Feel Bad for Myself mug, a larger mug. This is built for a larger mug. Okay? We're going to pour the juice or squeeze the juice of one whole lemon. But before you cut the lemon in half, put it in the juicer and squeeze, but then cut yourself a wheel off and then juice the other half in. We'll hold the wheel for later. Then drop a cinnamon stick. Next, put a heavy tablespoon of honey, like a tablespoon plus. Just go big. Whomp. Plop. Bitters. I put in, honestly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 or 10 shakes. Hefty shakes. Bartenders might be like, what? But I'm like, whatever. It's good. Drop a cinnamon stick in there. Now take that lemon wheel that we talked about just a bit ago and put the cloves in there, like in the rind, kind of like rim, like people do with the oranges, but like not that crazy. But just, it kind of looks like a wagon wheel with spokes or whatever. You get cloves around the wheel. Do we know what we're talking about? Great. Do that. And then put that in there as well. So we have, so far, the cinnamon, the honey, the bitters, and the lemon juice. Now we're going to add 2, or maybe you want to go a little stronger, if you want, ounces of the bourbon or whiskey, rather, of your choice. And then I would recommend a bourbon or the Napa Castle. And then with your hot water boiling, fill the cup up with hot water and then stir with a spoon to get all that honey and get everything all around. And if that's not the best hot toddy you've had, then my name is Jeff, and it's not. On with the show. What are you working on over there?
I just poured myself a James Beam on the rocks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yourself?
Dickel rye.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah. So nice rye. It's affordable and delicious.
Does the Dickel bottle that you're using, is it one of the old school ones with like the kind of like slanty neck or like the bent neck? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, it's pretty straightforward. It's the green label. Long. It's got like a long neck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? If I do get through this Dickel on what could end up being a pretty epic episode of the show, I might get into an Elijah Craig bourbon. That's the bourbon I've been drinking lately.
Ooh.
Which was recommended to me by folks at my favorite liquor establishment.
Nice.
Purveyors.
Yeah.
My local purveyors of booze items.
I have a fun fact for you real quick. The reason I asked you about that if your Dickel whiskey had the bottle with the bent neck is because that prop or that bottle was used as a prop on the original Star Trek series. Whenever they poured the Saurian brandy, it was always...
I know just the bottle you're talking about.
Dickel bottle. Yeah.
No shit. Yeah, no, it's not that.
Okay.
So just to be clear, we're talking about having cocktails because we're seated comfortably and safely within the confines of our homes and recording this podcast. But we are going to speak about vehicles today. Yes. And they are in no way tied together, nor should they ever. The only reason that liquor and driving should ever be mentioned in the same sentence is to say, I'm going to drive to the liquor store and get some. And then that's
stay home and drink it safely.
And stay home and drink it safely. So do not drink and drive. Please don't drink and drive.
You especially don't want to be drinking and driving if you're dealing with a vehicle that can travel through space and time or turn into a robot.
Well, that's a hell of a segue, bud. When I was a young boy, if you can imagine such a thing,
I cannot.
No, it's hard to imagine. I feel like I've always been this age. My father is a vehicle enthusiast. His whole life he's been into cars. He was a mechanic. That kind of makes me a bit of a mechanic. So we have an appreciation in our house for vehicles, and my dad even more so. My dad like can kind of get into like the loud engines, like he really likes that. He used to take me to like stock car races when I was a kid, which I have like a lot of fond memories of it. I'm not like a crazy vehicle enthusiast, but I do appreciate a well put together vehicle. Even more than that, I appreciate when someone takes a well built vehicle and applies fantasy to it, giving it abilities that it wouldn't otherwise have. When I was a small boy, as I was starting earlier, my father took me to see the Budweiser World of Wheels in Boston. Yes, and it was down at like the convention center on the water in Boston. It was huge. And at that convention center, I saw a host of the most famous vehicles in the world to that point, which was 1985, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And also the Solid Gold Dancers were there. So do you remember that show?
Win-win. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember watching it, but I'm very familiar with Solid Gold just from its, pop culture lasting influence.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just like think of a vehicle off the top of your head. Just name a famous vehicle.
Kit.
Saw it.
Wow.
Keep going. Lightning round.
Pre-85, huh?
Yeah.
Ecto 1?
Ecto 1 was there, and there were people walking around with the real deal backpacks on. I lost my mind.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Would there have been a DeLorean there, even though that movie came out, I think, in 85?
Yeah, the DeLorean, I'm foggy on that. No, I'm going to say no because I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
Also, for a second time.
So some of the cars on our list that we're about to break into, actually, I guess a handful of like iconic television cars were designed by the same dude in Los Angeles, whose name I believe was George Barris.
Really?
And he is no longer alive, but there's still a George Barris showroom where his like shop was in Studio City. He designed the Adam West 1966 Batmobile. He did the
Classic.
Monkey Mobile. He did the Monsters Mobile.
Wow.
I feel like those are his three biggest ones. But those. So just recently, I mean, within the past couple of years, I've been by his showroom just to look in the window and be like, the Batmobile, it's so cool. Like,
yeah, it has a jet engine. So what Bones and I
turbines to speed.
That's right. What Bones and I have done today is compiled a list of the most iconic. We feel the rules of this list, according to us, the most iconic screen vehicles. We pored over many lists just to make sure we weren't missing any big ones. I'm sure that we'll miss one that you love, and that's totally cool. And you can let us know in the comments below. But yeah, we're just going to go through. This is a 32. This is another big bracket. It's a big one. So we're going to go through and talk about briefly each because we don't have time. 32. Like we got to cruise through this one, bud.
That's right.
And just pick the winners. And at the end of this, we're going to end up with what we determine to be the greatest television or movie vehicle. Iconic. What'd you call it? Iconic screen vehicle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which sometimes we go into these things and I kind of already have an idea in my head of what I think will make it to the end. And I've been shocked a few times, like that what I had in mind didn't make it there. But this one, I have no preconceived notions of where this is going to go. I'm really excited to get into this.
Mm-hmm. I have a favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got knocked out.
I have a lot of them that I love as much as others. I'm not sure if I have an obvious favorite yet.
Fair. So, shall we begin, my friend?
We should.
And that being the case, I would be honored if you would start because I feel like this first battle is close to your heart.
You're correct. The first battle is the Battle of the 007s. We have the iconic Aston Martin DB5 versus the Lotus Esprit. And of course, the DB5 premiered in Goldfinger, and so it's very, very associated with Sean Connery's James Bond, but has also showed up in a handful of the Daniel Craig movies and showed up in, I think, two of the Pierce Brosnan movies, I think. So that the car has stuck around, but the Lotus, which turns into a submarine, is probably definitely most closely associated with Roger Moore, just because of its use in The Spy Who Loved Me. And also in For Your Eyes Only, he also had a Lotus Esprit that did not last as long in that movie.
So when I grew up, I used to have a Lotus Esprit model. I wish I still had it. That turned into the submarine. Like you could flip the wheels around, the flippers would come out. It also had a torpedo launcher in the back. So that was the Bond vehicle that I bonded with, or what do you call it? You know. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I like your use of
imprint. Oh, thank you. Yeah, imprinted on. And but I would say for me at this point, the Aston Martin, after having seen that, it's just about the smoothest vehicle going.
Yeah, agreed. And also, even though the Lotus is the most Roger Moore associated James Bond car, in the movie Cannonball Run, Roger Moore plays. I think he's actually James Bond in Cannonball Run. I think that's it. It's like James Bond is like the actor Roger Moore is put on, and James Bond is who he really is, and he drives the Aston Martin in that movie. So Roger Moore never actually drove the DB5 in a James Bond movie, but while he was sending up James Bond in Cannonball Run, he drove the DB5. So I think that's the one.
Yeah, Aston Martin.
Yeah.
All right, next lineup. We're going to jump over to comedy here. The Ecto-1, which I had mentioned I've seen in person, and the Bluesmobile, which, Zach, you and I have seen in person.
That's right. I don't know how that escaped my mind because, as you know, well, both these movies are two of my absolute favorite comedies and just movies in general. These are both cars that, if they were not matched up against each other, I would expect to make it deeper into this, but obviously one of them has to go right now. I mean, I'm guessing you're on the same page as me when I say I think Ecto-1 is the more iconic of the two. It's
got to be. I mean, it's full of technology that we have no idea what it does, whereas the Bluesmobile has a speaker on top of it.
Well, and the Bluesmobile can it's like magical though.
It is,
because it can make unbelievable jumps,
incredible jumps.
It can survive all of these like things that just decimate cop cars, but the Bluesmobile keeps going even though it is a cop car.
Yeah, I know. The Bluesmobile is pretty awesome. Yeah, I got to go with the Ecto-1 though. It's just like,
but yeah, Ecto-1.
Oop, I dropped my pencil. I'm back. Ecto-1 wins that one. Moving on.
Apparently, there's a scene. Oh, sorry.
No,
you
go
said
ahead.
Moving on. I
know.
That's apparently, there's a deleted scene from Blues Brothers where they were going to have the Bluesmobile was parked in its parking area there underneath Aykroyd's apartment. They were going to have it get struck by lightning or something like that. They were going to have it some sort of thing that explains why it has these magical powers. And they ended up just deleting that and just having a magical car with no explanation.
Yeah, which works also.
Yeah, which works better in my opinion. I mean, having not seen how it would have worked out the other way, but it's just dumb enough and smart enough at the same time to have no explanation.
Yep, I'm actually getting ready to watch Blues Brothers again, just to win it over, or have it win me over. I'm close. I think I'm close.
And I used to watch that movie at least once a year, but now probably 2 or 3 years has gone by since I last watched it, so I'm way overdue.
Okay, well, maybe we can do a joint watching. Sorry to bring this up, but moving on. The A-Team van versus the Mystery Machine.
The great thing about both these vans is they are straight up transportation.
That's it.
They both just carry their teams around.
Yep.
One has a groovy paint job, and the other one's just a black van with a red stripe and a spoiler. But both iconic, which makes this actually kind of tough.
Well, I would say that if I were in a survival situation, if I had to choose between the Mystery Machine and the A-Team van, I bet there would be a lot more tools for survival in the A-Team van.
That's true. I mean, it's all ex-military guys on the run. So
yeah, that's right.
It's probably full of things that you need to survive.
That's
but
right.
There's probably weed in the Mystery Machine.
Scooby snacks? Yeah.
And Scooby snacks.
Yeah. I'm going to go.
Yeah, let's go with
I got to go with the A-Team van.
I'm with you.
Okay. What do we got next?
We have, much like Ecto-1 and Bluesmobile, I would expect both of these to go further if they weren't matched up against each other. But KITT, the Knight Industries 3000.
Thank you for the full
name. Versus the Batmobile. And of course, the Batmobile is a little bit of a cheat because it's all incarnations of the Batmobile. But they're that being said, there are so many iconic incarnations. We could do a best of the best Batmobiles.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my two favorites are the Adam West, 1966 Batmobile, and then also the Tim Burton original from just the 1989 Batmobile is awesome.
That's a great one. But also so is Chris Nolan's.
Oh yeah, we're just basically just like a tank, the tumbler.
Yeah, I think the reason I would give it to the Batmobile over KITT is that at least in the current incarnation of the Batmobile, the most recent. Nah, it's not the most recent because of the Zack Snyder movies. Yeah, but The Batmobile seems to have like all the smarts of Kit without the annoying, condescending personality. Yes, Michael. Ugh.
I also love it in the 60s Batman that Batman was always prepared for any eventuality. So that means that much like his utility belt, the Batmobile just had anything it needed for any given moment.
And that carried through the Nolan Batmobile.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
true.
it's just
Could
all
turn
in
into
there.
a motorcycle if it needed to.
Fucking motorcycle with fat tires. Yeah, Batmobile.
Yeah.
All right. All right, this next one is going to be easy. Speaking of cars with magical powers, the General Lee versus Steve McQueen's Mustang GT from Bullitt. Now, the reason that I find it very easy to give it to Steve McQueen's Mustang GT from Bullitt,
It's because it doesn't have a Confederate flag on the roof.
that's it.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, and it's not named after a Confederate general.
That's it. Also, that's it. Those are the reasons. I grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard it was on like Friday nights. Like it was like a regular thing. Bo and Luke Duke, Daisy, Uncle Jesse, Boss Hogg, Roscoe P. Coltrane. What was his name? Scooter, whatever the mechanic's name was. It never occurred to me as a child any of the racial connotations in there because it was just a bunch of goofy people going like wee-hoo
Same.
and jumping
I thought it was
over
cool
canyons.
that these two dudes would jump through the windows because the doors were welded shut.
Yeah.
Like my brother and I used to jump into my dad's Subaru through the windows.
Oh, sure.
Which he was not psyched about.
Yeah.
But it's because we wanted to pretend it was the General Lee.
Yeah, do the jump over the hood. There's the butt slide over the hood.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Bullitt was the car chase that redefined car chases that, like, to this day, people are trying to recreate that energy. And Steve McQueen really did all that driving by himself because he was a car enthusiast
He's
and
a
a race car
fucking
enthusiast.
badass is what he was.
So they're doing all those jumps and like those fast turns, like in those neighborhoods with cars parked on both sides of the street. And, like, and also that car.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, just no shortage of hubcaps on that car.
No.
Like every shot there's a hubcap flying off. I think it loses like 8 or 9 hubcaps throughout that race or chase.
So true. And it's not named after a Confederate general.
Which is a big plus.
Bullitt wins the day.
Bullitt wins. All right. The next two iconic vehicles.
I love this one.
We have a vehicle that's associated with the Fab Four and a vehicle that's associated with the Prefab Four. So, the Yellow Submarine versus the Monkey Mobile.
It's not a fair lineup.
No, it's not.
But just like putting the Beatles against the Monkees is not a fair lineup either.
Yeah.
The Monkees are great. Like, and yes, it started through a TV show. Who gives a shit? It was a good TV show. I watched it all the time.
Yeah, I love that show. I revisited every episode within the past few years. It's still great.
The Monkey Mobile is fun as shit. But the Yellow Submarine can seemingly do anything, including interdimensional travel, time travel, and has at its disposal everything you need, including a cavalry on horses to come rescue you. It can turn into a huge Zippo lighter to light a dinosaur's cigar. I mean, is there anything that this machine can't do? It can fly through the air, through water. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It just goes. That's it.
I mean, that's it. I mean, the biggest mystery of the Monkey Mobile is how a band that, in the context of the show, couldn't get a gig, afforded to have a sweet vehicle that was a unique custom built machine. Much like how did they afford to have a house on the beach in Malibu if they were just a band that couldn't get a gig?
Yeah. It's like the 80s movies where the artist lives in a warehouse or like a whole like loft apartment in Manhattan. The struggling artist. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to go to the Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
And after describing the Yellow Submarine just then, dude, I wasn't considering this before, but the Yellow Sub stands to take it all.
Yeah, same. As I was listening to you say that, I was like, wow, I think it just moved up my my list pretty far.
This one's kind of an easy choice. These are both fast cars, and it's just basically like, what's your style? I would say.
Fast cars driven by cool dudes.
Fast cars driven by cool dudes, but like one of them driven by, I don't know, a cooler dude? It's the Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino versus the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. Now, yeah, I walked by a Trans Am not 2 days ago, and as it sat there in the Hannaford parking lot chortling out noxious fumes, I could not help but admire it. And also the mulleted driver. There's nothing quite like seeing 60-year-old Doritos fed middle-aged guy sitting in the Hannaford parking lot living his best life in his dream car. Parked next to a hybrid. I don't know. The Gran Torino is a cool ass car. There's no doubt, especially the Starsky and Hutch with a white stripe.
Yeah.
But I would have to give it to the Trans Am myself. Zach, what say you?
I also give it to the Trans Am. Also, I have also recently become enamored with the Trans Am again because our good friend Ann Heelan, at some point in the recent times, has come into possession of a Trans Am.
That's right.
And her Instagram profile is Trans Ann.
So good.
Which is mostly just pictures of her being cool in her Trans Am.
I mean,
and we're like, yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, she's a certified badass anyway.
Oh yeah, and put that badass behind the wheel of a Trans Am.
Yep.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. You want to hit the next lineup, bud?
Sure. We have an iconic Disney mobile versus a mobile that I always thought was Disney until recently found it wasn't, which is Herbie the Love Bug versus Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, authored by Ian Fleming, who also wrote the James Bond novels. Did you know that? There you go. And also the movie was produced by the James Bond producers, Albert R. Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson.
And Terrence Brussels sprouts.
That's right.
Yeah. Herbie is aside. I guess Kit is sentient, but Herbie's our first sentient being in a vehicle that is not a computer.
Yeah.
Herbie's alive. And Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang might just be a regular car, or it might be a car that can fly and turn into a boat and stuff like that. It's. I haven't read the book, but the movie is basically like, are they imagining all of this, or is this really happening? And I can't remember if there's a reveal at the end, but it definitely starts out as if they're imagining it. So Chitty Chitty Bang Bang might not actually do any of the amazing things that it does. That might just be their imagination. Herbie is actually, like alive.
Yes, it's actually alive, Zach. So, I give it... I like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because it has more personality. The Herbie the Love Bug just kind of like walking up and like bumping into someone's calf, like when they like when you start to like, at the end there's the kiss. It's like, wah, wah, wah. What are you doing? Like, I don't know. What is Herbie? It's like this goofy. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is at least like steeped in some sort of I don't know, childhood mystery, sense of wonder.
Yep. And I've already got that song stuck in my head because you sang it for half a second. So
Yeah. Where's Herbie's theme
okay.
song?
Who knows? Yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang can sprout wings or a pontoon, like whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever's needed.
This next one is going to be rugged, dude. I mean, it's not going to be rugged. It's going to be a handy victory, but we're looking at a heavy hitter here. It's the Back to the Future DeLorean, all iterations with Mr. Fusion, can fly, whatever. Versus the Airwolf, which if you're a younger listener, Airwolf was a show that featured a very smart helicopter that could shoot stuff.
Yeah, it was like a military prototype helicopter or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, it was like fast. It could shoot stuff. It was like piloted by a guy who was like an ace pilot.
Jan Michael Vincent.
Yeah, who hung out with
Ernest Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine, who's always Ernest Borgnine, no matter
what, and it's always good.
Yeah. And the theme song.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, it's a great theme. Now, if we're gonna do theme songs, then we're doing Airwolf theme song versus Power of Love, and I still don't know who wins.
Man, but yeah, Back to the Future has Power of Love plus ba 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 da 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 da.
Yeah, but Airwolf has yeah.
Also, what came first, the Airwolf theme song or the Knight Rider theme song? Because they're both awesome and exist in the same spot.
I mean,
the same space.
I would guess, and this is a guess, by the way, that it would be Knight Rider. I think Knight Rider triggered the mystical vehicle obsession of the 80s on the televisions. But they are both badass
Yeah.
theme songs. I mean, Airwolf was great. A lot of camera tricks to make a helicopter do what it cannot. The DeLorean struggles to hit 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, which
But
may have been how DeLoreans actually operated in real life. Not sure.
Totally. That said, it could travel through time. So I'm going to give it personally to the DeLorean.
Yeah, plus, I mean, gull wing doors never look better.
So cool.
And a car that's just made out of stainless steel and doesn't need a paint job. It just looks that awesome with just brushed stainless steel.
Yeah, you can it's like a kitchen sink that you can drive.
Yeah.
Next up.
Yeah. We have the Arrested Development stair car
Useful.
versus the Dumb and Dumber Dogmobile. Also useful.
Is it? It does look good jumping over a hill. That, oh God, that car, like when you look at it, you can smell it.
Yeah.
Like even if they took care of it, it would smell so bad just from getting wet over and over and over again. Probably smell like a wet
smells
dog.
like a wet dog. That's funny. That's my sister watches movies like that a lot, like where she like adds like that extra sense that you don't think about when you're watching movies. Like in Terminator when Kyle Reese puts those pants on that he takes from the guy in the alleyway.
Yep.
Like that doesn't go through my head how bad those pants must smell. But that's the type of thing my sister would watch him do that and be like, "Oh my God, those pants must reek."
I think I'm on Kate's team. Like I think of that. Like when I watch like Game of Thrones, I'm like, ugh. How bad does this scene smell? Especially like when they get into like medieval fornication. It's like, ugh. When's the last time any of those bits hit warm water?
Yeah, some of those bits ain't nice.
Yikes.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with Kate on that one. Like I tend to really take in the because it really brings gravity to the situation. Like this guy needs pants so bad that he's putting on piss-soaked pants. Undoubtedly urine-soaked pants.
Undoubtedly.
All right, moving on. The Dumb and...
Oh, wait.
Oh, what do you got?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were moving to the next bracket. I was like, we haven't picked
Oh,
the winner
no.
yet.
I was going to go to the Dumb and Dumber car versus the stair car.
I initially would have probably leaned toward the Dumb and Dumber car as being more iconic, but now that you've described how it probably smells, I want nothing to do with it.
I mean, yeah, the stair car is pretty amazing. And that it's the one car that the whole family has is pretty great.
Yeah.
I'll go with stair car.
All right. I feel like that.
You?
Yeah, I'm on stair car as well. I feel like that's a little bit of a controversial choice, just based on our iconic status, but maybe not.
I don't know. It plays a huge role in that show. In fact, it even like facilitates jailbreaks.
Oh yeah, yep,
You know.
yep.
Moving on to the next bracket is two undoubtedly shitty vehicles. We have the 6000 SUX from RoboCop, which was like, you know, if you've seen RoboCop, Paul Verhoeven tends to like lean into like a lot of satire on modern life. And like, you know, even though the world is a shithole, like all people want is the 6000 SUX. There's tons of ads for it. It's bad on gas. There's nothing good about it, but it's a status symbol. Against the National Lampoon's Vacation, what is it? The wagon, the family truckster.
Yeah, something family truckster.
Yep. Yeah, the green Woody, which was with them for, well, I guess just that first installment.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, they end up like, don't they like they're in Monument Valley, right? When they like crash it into that ditch or something because he goes through the unfinished road or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they end up having to walk out of the desert.
Right, and by Christmas Vacation, they're in like a more modern, at that time, like teardrop shaped Ford product. What do you say between these two as far as iconic?
Well, I just want to add a little extra, or not extra, but just back you up on the genius of Paul Verhoeven, where he can make like a goofy movie about like a weird 80s robot cop, but also have it be completely relevant commentary on the state of society and to have it still hold up. Because you could watch RoboCop and just see a violent rated R 80s movie, or you could actually look a little bit below the surface and be like, oh, holy shit, he's actually tapped into, you know, consumerism and corporate fuckery and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, that being said, the National Lampoon's car, Clark Griswold didn't even want that car. I think Eugene Levy conned him into it, and then Clark was too embarrassed to admit to his family that he got the car that he didn't actually order. So I don't know. I might be leaning toward the RoboCop car.
The 6000 SUX, and by the way, it occurred to me it's the Wagon Queen family truckster.
There it is.
Yep. I'm going to go with the Wagon Queen because it's just such. If you showed someone a picture of that car and showed someone a picture of the 6000 SUX, even though like I'm a huge nerd, I'd be like, oh, it's the 6000 SUX from RoboCop, 1986, the original. But like most folks wouldn't. But like you could show, I think most folks would at least like come to the conclusion that was the National Lampoon's mobile.
Yeah, you know what? That is a very correct argument. I think people that haven't even seen Vacation probably could pick out the car.
At least like you could connect the car with the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of game.
Fair enough.
So
National Lampoon's.
I mean, I didn't win. The Wagon Queen family truckster won. That's who won.
That's right. It once again has sold itself to somebody who didn't want it.
That's right. Good one. The next lineup is an interesting one, and I'm going to let you take lead on it because you raised a fantastic point.
Okay. So we have of the monster trucking world, Bigfoot versus of the Transformer world, Optimus Prime. And yeah, the point that I raised is I don't think ever watched monster trucking.
Yeah. To which point, I didn't say this earlier, so I can say it now. I know this is true because you're calling it monster trucking.
Is that not the official term?
I don't think so.
So that's not what.
No, keep
MT
going with monster
enthusiasts
trucking
call
though.
it?
I love it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the point I was going to make is that Bigfoot transcended monster trucking, and so, and somehow became like an iconic character of its own. And I don't think it ever had a cartoon or like.
I believe it did.
Maybe
actually,
it was it maybe was like an RC racer at one point. I mean, maybe a GI Joe drove it at one point. I can't remember.
there's definitely a Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like Bigfoot became like a must-have 80s vehicle, even to people like myself who lived and existed completely outside of the monster trucking world.
That's right.
And of course, Optimus Prime, I don't think needs any introduction. I mean, he's the leader of the Transformers. He's a Mack truck, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, Bigfoot's awesome, and it can crush cars and stuff. And it was definitely like a remote control car, and it was a personality. It was like Bigfoot is to the monster truck world as Hulk Hogan would be to wrestling. You know, it's the first person to kind of like break out and be like a huge, like sentient star from the universe that they were created in. Mm-hmm. I've seen Bigfoot in person. It is big. But, you know, Optimus Prime, though.
Yeah, alien robot.
Yeah. An alien robot that came to Earth and just so happened to look like the then modern fleet of semi-trucks. Like, someone needs to explain that shit to me. Like, what?
There probably is an explanation for it. Like, people that read the comic books or have watched all the movies probably can't explain that to us.
Is that like their chameleon circuit? Which I can get behind that. I'm a Doctor Who fan. Like I can bite onto some obscure reason why I should believe. But yeah,
I mean, probably because there were dinosaur Transformers too.
Okay, but also like, how did like Megatron go from a full size big huge leader and then he transformed into a gun that Starscream could hold in his hand? It's like he gets tiny. Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway,
whatever.
So are we going with Optimus Prime?
Optimus Prime, yeah.
Yeah.
Next lineup.
You know how earlier I said that I didn't really have a vision of a car that I thought would make it deep into this? Mm-hmm. Now that we're here, I'm realizing this is one that actually is kind of a favorite of mine.
Wow.
Speed Racers Mach 5 versus Wonder Woman's Invisible Jet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even... The Mach 5 to me is just so iconic.
I agree, and I find, even though I find Speed Racer to be completely confusing,
totally,
and nonsensical, and but the Mach 5 is totally badass.
Yeah, and another great theme song.
Oh yeah, totally. Wonder Woman's Invisible Jet, to me, or at least the way it was presented to me, the way I took it in was on Justice League cartoon shows when I was a kid, and it just basically like made it so that Wonder Woman was like cruising around the sky in a relaxed position. Yeah,
in the outline of a jet.
Yeah, vague outline of jet. Oh, dude, do you remember that time that the four of us we wanted takeout from a drive up, like Wendy's or something, many moons ago, and we walked up, but we got into position like we were all seated like in a car. Yeah. And she's like, you can't get food like if you're not in a car. And we said, oh, we're in Wonder Woman's Invisible Jet. And she's like, gave it to us like on, okay guys, like you tried, I'm giving you your burgers.
Yeah, A for effort.
You know what?
And now you can eat.
So now I'm going to vote for Wonder Woman's Invisible Jet because it got me fed once.
Oh, man. I can't break from the Mach 5. To me, that's just such a beautiful car. And the Wachowski brothers made that, who I believe are both sisters now, made the Speed Racer movie. And the movie was terrible.
Yeah.
But they made the Mach 5 look so great, and that like it looked exactly like you pictured it looking in real life. It, when you watch the cartoon. And it somehow jumped over canyons and stuff with its auto jacks that presumably were only built in to help repair it. But you could use it to jump.
Yeah, to like give you the extra push you need.
Also, isn't Wonder Woman's need for the invisible jet, doesn't that like change depending on the iteration of Wonder Woman? Like, I don't know if she can ever really truly fly, but I think sometimes she can propel herself through the air somehow. I could be way off on this one. I feel like the Wonder Woman and the invisible jet thing is like kind of depending on where you're taking in your Wonder Woman entertainment.
That's fair, but I'm thinking about the
getting a burger,
the Wendy's double bacon cheese and fries.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Mach 5 never got me that. Heads Mach 5, tails invisible jet.
All right.
Fuck, it's tails again. I suck at luck.
I had already written down Mach 5.
Oh, good. Yeah. You were just so ready for it to win. The next two vehicles are ridiculous. Both of them. For different reasons. One is Wayne and Garth's Mirthmobile from Wayne's World, which the only notable attribute of this vehicle is that it has a Twizzler dispenser in it.
And it made two kind of loser nerds feel cool driving around.
Well, that's good too. That's a superpower. Fun fact, my friend, the late Mark Waldron, actually bought that vehicle.
Like the movie screen used
Mirthmobile.
vehicle? Wow.
And then he had it restored like to original, like not to the Mirthmobile.
Like not Wayne's World?
Yeah.
Like no flame job on
I was
the
like,
side?
the Twizzler dispenser. Yeah, I took that out. Like, dude, like, why did you buy the Mirthmobile if you didn't want you could have bought a Gremlin and restored it to factory, but you bought the Mirthmobile and then restored that to factory? Like, why do you hate Wayne's World so much? Anyway, so it's the Mirthmobile versus the Inspector Gadgetmobile, which, again, is like the Swiss Army knife of, like, whatever you need, it's in there.
Yeah, it's a van and it's a car.
Yeah. It changes depending on what you need. Yeah.
I don't know why. I was just thinking about the Mirthmobile being a gremlin. Isn't that like a notoriously dangerous car? Wasn't that like the whole joke about gremlins? Is it they just like exploded or something?
I don't know. I don't know about that. That might be true, but I have not heard that. It's not like the Chevelle, unsafe at any speed. Was it the Yugo? You think of the Yugo?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost want to.
Which is what makes
we don't have time.
Drowning Mona so hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Underrated movie, Drowning Mona.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's another good one to revisit.
100%.
Both of these are iconic.
Yeah.
I feel like in the modern generation, the Mirthmobile might actually carry more weight than the Gadgetmobile.
100%.
I mean, which would have been unthinkable in the 80s to think that a car could be more iconic than the Gadgetmobile, but I think I got to go Mirthmobile now.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just like that's where Bohemian Rhapsody happened.
Yeah, and became a hit for the second time.
For the second time, and not the last.
And not the last. With literal decades going by in between it being a hit.
Yeah, a number one hit in 3 different decades. Or if not number one, then like top 10 anyway.
Yeah, definitely top 10.
Yeah, I think it made it to number 5 the first time, and then definitely number 1 the second time, and I think number 1 again on the third time. So whatever.
Yeah,
That's why that song won. That's why that song won the Epic Jams. Magnum PI's Ferrari versus Mad Max's V8 Interceptor, which is actually a Falcon.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think, that in Mad Max they refer to it as the last of the V8 Interceptors. But I remember reading in like an IMDb trivia, because I don't know cars as well as others, including yourself, and they were like, they'll refer to it as an Interceptor. It's actually a Ford Falcon. And I think when we were talking about it when we were making our list earlier, you were like, wait, that's actually a Falcon. I was like, I don't know, but they call it an Interceptor in the movie.
Yeah, so it's the Interceptor. It's like it's about the title of the vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magnum PI's convertible Ferrari Testarossa. I don't know. I could go either way on this one.
I mean, I think like if they were parked next to each other and somebody was like, and Mad Max wasn't a movie that existed,
Yeah.
and somebody's like, which car do you want? I would pick Magnum's car over the Mad Max car.
Oh, sure.
But in its screen used context, even though the Mad Max car meets a pretty tragic end, that's a pretty fucking excellent car, and those movies are awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Mad Max myself.
Excellent, me too.
All right, one more lineup before we take a little break.
All right.
And this one's going to be sadly easy, and the only reason they ended up together in the bracket is because they were the only two that we couldn't pair with anything else.
Yeah.
Because that's how tight the writing on this show is.
That's right.
It's the Jurassic Park Jeep versus the Tron Light Cycle.
And we had a little back and forth on whether we were going to go with the Jurassic Park Jeep or the Jurassic Park Explorer. I think both almost equally iconic. The point that I was saving for this conversation and tried not to mention earlier is that I have seen real life mock-ups of the Jeep multiple times. I don't know if I've seen the Explorer, but I have definitely been like in LA driving downtown and been like, oh, there's somebody with a Jurassic Park Jeep.
Nice.
And that's happened more than once.
There is actually somebody locally who has a Jurassic Park Explorer here in Maine.
I'll need to find that person just so I can look at
Nah,
that.
it's not spot on.
Okay.
It's fine, though. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Tron Light Cycle because Tron Light Cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Also, like, Tron, I think that scene was pretty much the CGI scene in that movie. Most of that movie, even though it takes place in a computer, was done with practical visual effects. I think the only true computer-generated scene was the light cycle scene, and it's very primitive computer graphics. But it's still, especially as a kid, but even today, like it still leaves so much to the imagination where you can like, I don't know, like it's so rudimentary that like your brain fills in all the rest and makes it look incredible and feel incredible. And like it's still to this day, I mean, I haven't watched it in a couple of years now, but like it really ignites that sense of childhood wonder watching just these primitive shapes take hard 90-degree turns on like a simple grid.
For what it's worth, I did not see Tron as a kid. I actually saw it later in life, and it's awesome. And that scene still holds up. Not only does it hold up, it defined a thing. It doesn't matter if it's rudimentary. It invented a thing. Yeah. And like what other vehicle? No other vehicle that we have mentioned here can take a 90-degree that fast.
That's its superpower.
That's right.
Oh, and leave a light trail behind it that can destroy the other bikes.
So cool.
So cool.
Like, do not like how classically toxic is that? Like, you cannot go where I have been.
Only I can tread this
path. You
die.
All right, we'll take a break for the Bull Moose Minute, and when we come back, we're going to get into, just more of this.
Hello, friends. Zach Jones here with your Bull Moose Minute for the week beginning November 9th. Coming this week, Elton John, Jewel Box. Elton Jewel Box is an in-depth exploration of Elton John's extensive catalog, including rarities from 1965 to 1971, lesser-known B-sides, and deep cuts personally curated by Elton. Elton Jewel Box is an unrivaled collection containing 148 songs spanning 1965 to 2019. It's going to be available on multiple formats. It's going to be on an 8 CD collection, or 4 LPs, 3 LPs, or 2 LPs. And they will be available this week at Bull Moose. Also available this week on hardcover book and audiobook, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. You cannot fix a problem you do not know you have. So begins Emmanuel Acho in his essential guide to the truths Americans need to know to address the systemic racism that has recently electrified protests in all 50 states. There's a fix, Acho says, but in order to access it, we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations. In Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, Acho takes on the questions large and small, insensitive and taboo, that many white Americans are afraid to ask, yet which all Americans need the answers to, now more than ever. With the same open-hearted generosity that has made his video series a phenomenon, Acho explains the vital core of such fraught concepts as white privilege, cultural appropriation, and reverse racism. In his own words, he provides a space of compassion and understanding in a discussion that can lack both. He asks only for the reader's curiosity, but along the way, he will galvanize all of us to join the anti-racist fight. That's Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Acho, available this week at Bull Moose. Bull Moose are your purveyors of all things excellent: your music, your LPs, your CDs, your movies, your DVDs, your Blu-rays, your posters, your books, your coffee mugs with band logos. You name it, Bull Moose has got it. You can find them at bullmoose.com, where you can browse their selection online and have things delivered to your home, or you can find the location nearest you. They've got locations in Maine and New Hampshire. They can also be found on Instagram at Bull Moose Stores, and they are also available on Facebook. So go to Bull Moose, get the things you need. I'm Zach Jones, and this has been your Bull Moose Minute.
So we are down to... We started the finals. We went from 32 down to 16. Now, we're talking about iconic vehicles, but I mean, is it fair to say I'm also considering their abilities and powers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page there.
I don't know if that was in our original mission statement, but as we've been approaching these, I'm definitely thinking about what their abilities and powers are.
Well, the great part about the show, Zach, is that we can do legitimately whatever we want whenever we want to do that.
The behind-the-scenes suits aren't going to pull us aside and speak to us about how we derailed the show or took it in a different direction.
Nope. And nor can the trolls say anything. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. Because, the answer to your question is because. Anyway. Yeah. So... actually, I think this is actually going to go a lot quicker than we think it's going to go. Looking at some of these matchups
that are a little bit tough, and the one that we're going to start with actually is one for me. It's a little bit tough, but some of them, yeah.
Look, I'm the biggest Ghostbusters fan going. Lifer. I love that movie, those movies. The Ectomobile is iconic as hell. It's so great. But James Bond's Aston Martin, it's got guns in it. Even if it came stock, it's incredible. An incredible vehicle. The design is amazing. The lines, the speed, the handling,
the ejector
it's incredible.
seat.
And it can dump oil.
Yeah, the oil
slick.
slick.
So much. Like, you can do anything.
The ability to saw into people's
smoke
tires.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Aston Martin. I mean, also, that's like a lot of these cars are cars that like were fantasy cars for me when I guess they're all like fantasy cars no matter what for me. But like, there was a time where, I would want the Gadget Mobile or something like that. And the DB5 would be a car that I would be so psyched to just have. Like, even if I just needed to take a run to the grocery store, I'd be so pumped to get behind the wheel of that. And
God, yeah.
I don't think that's something that I will never grow out of, is admiring that car and wanting it.
No. You would leave for the grocery store single and come back married. like many times, like a Mormon.
I'd move to Utah just for that.
To Utah, just so that's
and I can
okay
drive more miles
to do.
Between destinations.
Sure, that's right. Yeah, many miles. I was going to say many more miles than I said many miles, and it came out many miles.
Here's one that should be pretty easy. For me, I think it's pretty easy. A-Team van versus Batmobile.
I'm just writing it down.
I mean,
Batmobile.
we sided with the A-Team van because of the tools that it might have at its disposal. And even if it comes with the actual A-Team in the van, the Batmobile has all of the tools, all of the devices, and it would come with Batman if it came with the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would come with Morgan Freeman at your disposal to talk you off a ledge. Yeah, and who doesn't want that?
All right. Should we just keep moving down here? Do you want to take this one or?
I mean, sure. We have the Bullet Mustang GT versus the Yellow Submarine, and the Bullet GT is a fast car. It's a great car. It actually exists in the world, so it's got that going for it, which is nice. But the Yellow Submarine, though, I got to go back to the part where it can do anything. And it's fun. It's fun colors.
Comes with some good songs attached to it.
Yeah, great soundtrack. So I'm going with the Yellow Submarine personally.
I love the fact that the Bullet Mustang is, as you said, a car that exists in real life. That's another car like the Aston Martin that, if either of us had money and the ability to pick out a car, we could buy that car and drive it to the grocery store. Yeah.
It's a dream boat
of
a car.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. The next one, Zach, I don't even know what to make of this one or who to choose because they're so disparate.
The Bandit car, the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit, or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
That's right.
One, a car of magical imagination-filled wonder, and another just a fast car that, again, like the Bandit car, the Aston Martin, you could buy and be the cool guy driving it. I'm leaning towards the Trans Am, honestly. Despite the magic of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I think there's something magic about the Trans Am.
Look, no one's getting laid in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Despite its name. Yeah, I'm with you. Trans Am, Smoking the Bandit. Jumping across the pond, we have... I'm just going to write this down. It's the DeLorean versus the stair car from Arrested Development. It's the Back to the Future. No discussion necessary. Incredibly iconic vehicle. Hilarious use of a stair car. Who would have thought of that? Great stuff. DeLorean all day.
And I feel like it's kind of the same thing moving on. We have the Queen family roadster from National Lampoon's Family Vacation versus Optimus Prime. So a robot alien truck.
I'm sorry, the Queen family truckster.
Man, I was way off.
Truckster. Yeah. Samsonite. Yeah, totally. It's very clearly the Queen family truckster. No, it's Optimus Prime.
Yep.
Right?
I love how does a Woody station wagon become a truckster? I mean,
I don't know.
I guess maybe that's
it's the wagon. The wagon right. Queen family truckster.
Right.
Yeah,
so get it right.
So, yeah, get it right. All right, we have the Mach 5 versus the Mirth Mobile, which is Speed Racer versus.
This is an easy
Wayne's
one
World.
for me. Sounds like you might. No.
Okay. It's easy. It's the Mach 5. Go Speed Racer,
so good.
go.
Here he comes. Here comes Speed Racer.
Mad Max versus Tron light bike.
Whew. Tough one.
The V8 Interceptor versus the Tron light bike.
I have seen, not in real life, but on the internet, people that have bought the whatever year Ford Falcon that was, and that's right. And I think I could be wrong here, but I think that was like a version of the Falcon that was maybe exclusive to Australia, or maybe I'm just confusing that because it's an Australian movie. But I have seen people online anyway mocking up those cars to look like the Mad Max car. It's pretty awesome. I have not seen a Tron light bike in real life, but again, that goes back to the way it excites your imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. But okay, let's do this. Put the Tron light bike in Australia during Mad Max times. In that, like, it doesn't even run on gas. It's like, oh, you guys are gonna be weird.
And like those, the the scavenger people in Mad Max, you just drive your light bike around them and fence them in a destructive wall.
Yeah,
of light trail.
Yeah, they're fucked.
And even the Mad Max car didn't, even though it's like kind of he saves the day with it in the first one, and assuming it's supposed to be the same car in the second one, it doesn't actually make it that deep into the movie. It's pretty early on that it meets its fate without running into a light trail from a light bike.
That's right. I'm going to go with the Tron light bike. Great. Wow. This is all of the ones I thought would make it are making it.
I mean, now that we're narrowing it down, it's all obvious to me. But when we first started this, for some reason, it didn't seem like it was going to be like this. Yeah, so we're just moving along, right? This is a tough one. Now we have James Bond's Aston Martin DB5 versus the Batmobile. I mean, as much as all the props that we've given the DB5, I got to lean with the Batmobile.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the Aston Martin. You know why? Style meets substance. The Batmobile, aside from, I mean, the Nolan iteration is like purely function. It looks amazing because it's functional. The OG 60s Batman one is like all style.
I think
with
even
a rocket
that car,
engine in the back.
I want to say it's like a Ford Futura or something like that they used for that they built the car.
I think you're right. Yep.
And apparently that's just like a big boat of a car that like can't accelerate, which
no, it handles like shit.
And it's just like functionally in real life it's probably not so awesome, but it's all style, and I think it's kind of awesome. I'm in love with that car for some reason.
Yeah.
That when I picture the Batmobile, I as much as like there are all these other excellent iterations of it, my brain goes straight to 60s Batmobile.
Totally. I get why you'd stick with the Batmobile, but I'm going to go with the Aston Martin.
This is one that we could do a coin toss, or I could just give you the Aston Martin, because this is like I can't be disappointed really either way on this. Sure.
Let's coin toss it. Heads, Aston Martin. Tails, Batmobile. Are we ready? Heads. All right. I won one, finally. Jesus. The next one, I can't believe that this vehicle is advancing so far. The Yellow Submarine from the Beatles' beloved cartoon show versus the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. I'm going to give it to the Yellow Submarine.
Fair enough.
We can talk about iconic, and I mean, the Trans Am's awesome, but I don't think it can
no, I think
travel through time.
Met its match here with the Yellow Submarine. This is a good run for the Trans Am, though.
Burt Reynolds, a cannonball's run. All right, take the next one, bud.
We have a time-traveling DeLorean versus an alien robot that looks like a truck, a semi-truck. I am leaning towards a DeLorean versus, if we're going Back to the Future versus Optimus Prime.
100%. I mean, I don't need my car turning into a being. Now, in Optimus Prime will always talk down to you too, both from because he's so tall, but then also be like, "Mom, father." It's like, you know what? I don't need this from you. You're not even from here. Why do you look like a Peterbilt truck when you're from a different? Who are you? And
Also,
I just don't need
if
that.
you're
I don't
driving around
need
an
it.
Optimus Prime,
Go ahead.
you are attracting an interstellar robot war to your doorstep.
I'm good. Yeah, that's like, you might as well like drive like a stolen
Yeah,
vehicle.
I'd rather have cops from Earth chasing me than, transmorphing robots from outer space.
100%. Yeah, like I'm good. Optimus Prime is obviously like awesome, but the DeLorean from Back to the Future
Yes,
is more
exactly.
awesome. And the last two we have is the Speed Racer Mach 5 versus the Tron Light Bike. This is a killer group of vehicles. I cannot believe like where we're heading here. I'm very excited by this.
I'm still rolling hard on the Mach 5, despite all the light bike's powers and awesomeness.
I get it, and I'm with the light bike, not to be obstinate, but because it's just so cool and original, and to me, iconic, and I don't know.
And you might
better
not
than the Mach
have
5.
an annoying kid and his pet monkey stowing away in your trunk.
Yes, we haven't talked about the fucking weird ass monkey in the back. What's that
Chim
monkey
Chim.
called? The Chim Chim. I was gonna say Chip. Chim Chim. What? Scratchy, like yelling, but not really yelling because like they couldn't afford like a whole animation, so it's just like two
Yeah,
frames.
arms up,
and
arms down, arms up, arms down. No in between frames.
Truth. All right, so are you gonna stick with
I am
Mach
gonna stick
5?
with
We'll
Mach
stick with
5,
Tron.
yeah.
Heads, Mach 5, tails, Tron. Tails it
Ooh.
is.
All right. Everything's
Wow,
coming up
I'm on a
Spencer
roll
these
here.
days.
Everything's coming up, Spencer. All right, so we are now in the semifinals.
We have James Bond's iconic Goldfinger and other films, Aston Martin DB5 versus the Beatles. Interdimensional time traveling yellow submarine.
Oh my god. I can't believe we're Yellow Submarine versus Bond's Aston Martin.
Wow, yeah. What are you feeling here? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's easy for me. I love the Beatles as much as the next guy, more than most.
I think more than most of the next guys.
Yeah, but the Yellow Submarine is a cartoon.
Yeah, let's get real here. let's cut through the
Yeah, I know.
bullshit. Get down to reality.
But I guess honestly, if you were to I don't know. If all of a sudden, like in my yard, the Yellow Submarine pulled up and the Aston Martin pulled up, I might be like, but that Aston Martin fucks though. Mm-hmm. You know, does the Yellow Submarine? I don't know, but then you're like, sorry, who cares if it fucks? Like, it travels through space and time.
I mean, the Yellow Submarine could introduce you to some danger. I guess, like, you could find yourself in another dimension being haunted by blue meanies.
Yep.
Aston Martin, you could cruise around, and if you got an annoying person in the other seat, you just hit the ejector seat button. See you later.
How rude.
How great would that be, though?
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice. I'd probably like be rid of it like first
You'd
day.
be chasing around your ejected seat once a day.
Yeah. Reinstalling it. Pulling the corpse out of it. Of the body that I had ejected.
Doing the thing
and
where you're
murdered.
trying to attach whatever like the device is that makes it happen, but you don't quite get it latched all the way, and it ejects again.
Yep.
You have to go chase it down.
Oh man.
You have to chase down the seat and the roof that blew off to push the seat out.
I'm also like mildly self-conscious here. Like I feel like if we choose the yellow submarine as the best vehicle from any movie ever, we have kicked to the curb the Lotus, the Ecto-1, the A-Team van, Knight Rider, and Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, the Yellow Submarine is
I don't know,
further
like,
than the Batmobile or Kit or any of that right now.
Unbelievable. And rightfully
yeah.
so in every lineup, right? But if I am to hold the Aston Martin to the same standards that we've held everything that's gone up against the Yellow Submarine, even though I would be much more proud to drive the Aston Martin down the street for the rest of my life, I would have to say that the Yellow Submarine is an infinitely more useful and versatile vehicle.
And both of them are iconic to the point where you could basically show even people that have not seen Yellow Submarine or a James Bond movie, people could probably associate the vehicle with the property.
Yeah,
but
both
I
of them.
feel like, much like you, it seemed like your initial instinct was leaning toward the Aston Martin, and that's honestly where mine was leaning too. It's only when I stop and kind of like break down the argument of like how Yellow Submarine even made it this far do I start thinking that it should win this round. So in a way, I'm still leaning toward the Aston Martin.
I have the deal sealer here. Paul McCartney owned an Aston
That's
Martin.
right. And I actually saw Patrick Stewart speaking at a 50th anniversary event for Abbey Road, and he told a story about how he was in an acting troupe with Jane Asher, who was dating Paul McCartney at the time, and they had like some like, you know, cast exercise where they're like, if you could have anything in the world, what would it be? And he was like, I want to drive an Aston Martin like James Bond's. And so apparently he was backstage after a show, and there's a knock on the door, and Jane Asher came in. She's like, hey, I want to introduce you to somebody. And it was Paul McCartney. And Paul was like, hey, I heard you want to drive an Aston Martin. And he threw him the keys. And Patrick yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, so I find myself driving around with Jane Asher and Paul McCartney in the tiny, tiny backseat of this essentially two-seater car. And he's like, and me driving, and Paul McCartney being like, oh, don't be afraid, go faster, go faster. And he's just like, I might kill one of the Beatles. He's like, my dream is coming true, but it's also terrifying. But yeah, to your point, Paul McCartney owned the James Bond Aston Martin as well.
It's an Aston Martin.
That's the winner.
That's the winner.
And Captain Picard wanted to drive one, and did, with Paul McCartney in the backseat.
Yeah. Yeah. The DeLorean versus the Tron light bike.
I never expected, much like the Yellow Submarine, I didn't expect the light bike to make it this far.
Yeah, I'm looking at its path. I'm like, really?
Mowed through some steep competition. But I'm feeling the DeLorean. Yeah.
Easy. You can lay as many destructive light walls as you want down, but you cannot travel through time on a light bike. So we find ourselves at the end, Zayjo.
Wow.
The Aston Martin versus the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
This is especially tough, but if I were going to defer to instincts, the DeLorean is jumping out at me as the choice.
It has to be. Why? Because both of these vehicles are sexy as fuck. Both of them. For different reasons.
And they're almost, you picture the Aston Martin being the kind of silver or bluish silver one that he had, well, I guess has had throughout the movies. And also, yeah, and then the stainless steel DeLorean. Like, neither of them have, like, you know, it's not like a shiny candy apple red or anything like that. They're both, like, basically just the design of the car carries their sexiness. It's not even any of the extra flourishes or anything like that. But
that's right.
I interrupted you. Continue.
No. It's a podcast. What is interrupting? But like the Aston Martin has like lots of fantasy accoutrement, right? The oil slicks, the tacks,
the bulletproof back
gun.
window shield, whatever.
Yeah, sure. And that's all great. But if we're going to talk about fantasy attachments, time travel.
I also love that even within the context of the Back to the Future films, like the DeLorean is still kind of a piece of shit. Like, you know, he is on a time crunch, like needs to intersect with the wire to catch the lightning bolt at the exact same time. And now like the car won't even turn over, you know, like is trying to just start the engine. Totally. It won't even start. Like, I love that. Like, yeah, it can travel through time, but it can't just like start and drive when he needs it to.
That's right. It was like, it was a punchline and awesome. Like they brought, like only the DeLorean could like fill that space where it was like the great vehicle for the movie and awesome and cool and sexy, but also like a total failure at the same time. Like you're bringing back something that is just a total fuck up and attaching your franchise
like
to
even
it.
That, you know, the first time traveling scene in, you know, when he's being chased and like through the parking lot and it keeps showing the speedometer like get close to 88, but then he needs to like make a turn or something and it slows down. Like, yeah, the fact they could drive out this like, suspenseful chase scene built around the fact that can this car even get to 88 miles an hour?
Can it get to 88 miles an hour, which is like, it's fast. Don't get me wrong, but it's not 120 miles an hour. It's not 150. It's like, it's an achievement. You could hit 88 miles an hour in a Volkswagen if you you know,
well, that's the,
played your cars right.
Well, I guess stainless steel is pretty light. Is that correct? Or is that a heavy metal? I can't think.
Yeah, no, it's
I think the DeLorean was only a 4-cylinder engine. Like it wasn't like a, you know, even though it was marketed as a sports car, it wasn't like a souped out, you know, speed machine.
No.
Yeah,
no,
it basically had the same engine as like a Volkswagen.
It was a sports car at all. It was there are two different companies that made the engines. One Volvo, one AMC, and AMC was not known for making reliable vehicles at all. In fact, the AMC Eagle was a disaster. So it was like, it was like a meeting of disasters coming together to make like this weirdly like iconic vehicle. And you know, were it not for Back to the Future, like there's a very good chance like you and I wouldn't even know what
for sure. I mean, there were so few of them made, which is like when you see them in person, like I've seen in my lifetime probably 6 DeLoreans. And I mean, I don't know what the overall number of them that were produced was, but like in general, it was not like a super mass produced car. It was like it had like a single year of production, maybe 2 years of production. And yeah,
I think that's right.
And of course, because they're made of stainless steel, they they actually were built to last, turns out. But
the bodies were, the frames were
That's
still
true.
made of steel and they rusted out. Yeah, so the bodies are amazing and the designs like will always be futuristic. Even in like 25. It'll be like, where's that car from the future?
I mean, those doors, the doors alone. It's like they actually
so
look like
cool.
wings.
Yep. Once again, I feel very good about where we landed. I'm not conflicted at all.
And I should have seen this coming, but with all of the other cars on the list, you know, as I said, when we initially had like the Ecto-1 versus the Bluesmobile, like I could have seen those two being the finals, you know. But yeah, it makes sense that we would have landed on the Back to the Future DeLorean. Like, what car is more iconic when you break it down?
I mean, according to our 32
None.
car list, none.
None more.
All right.
Good job to you.
Good job, Jones. Yeah. I look forward to doing this with
As do
condiments.
Talk soon.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Talk soon. Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is brought to you by Maine Spirits, Bull Moose, State Theater Portland, Maine, Sun Tiki Studios, and the Maine Music Alliance. This show is a Mistakes Were Made production.